Hello, Internet. Stand by for news for our hot take on a brand new film, The Watchers by.
Ishtan.
Stand by for our hot take on a brand new film, The Watchers by.
Shanana. Engelberg Humperdinck.
Will Ferrell.
Aishana Night Shyamalan.
I can never pronounce. I can't even pronounce her dad's name. Spoiler alert. Get a piece of paper and write this down.
I don't have my handy dandy notebook.
Most important thing for
Most
the
people
entire
probably pull their phone out and go to their
the
notepad.
entire review. All right, this movie is better than Sinister. Go back and watch our Sinister review. Seeing how Sinister is the single worst horror movie ever made.
It is.
In
We
our
decided
humble
it.
opinion.
It is decided.
We just got pulled in the driveway.
Fresh.
Quick, this just in.
They've heard the female, now they're going to come looking.
Although you probably have already looked on Rotten Tomatoes, but here on Rotten Potatoes,
What's this, precious?
we got a whole new spin on this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right? What'd you like about it?
What did I like about it? Well,
Do you want to give a summary of the film?
so the summary of the film, as I understand it, it's about a naked man.
Just keep your pants on and let's figure a way out of this.
Just kidding. No, it's about a woman who's dealing with some personal strife, I guess could say. And she works for a pet store and she gets tasked with bringing this bird to I guess like a bird collector or some. Anyway, her car breaks down in the middle of Ireland in the woods. And she becomes part of basically like the Partridge Family for this alien troop. Or I don't know if they're aliens. We'll talk about that. And then, yeah, sort of just kind of devolves from there. It's tough to describe, to be honest.
It really is.
I did a really poor job of it, too.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You're special.
You make me happy.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Well, what did you like about it?
I liked, especially the first half of the film, is it really, you could see M. Night Shyamalan's fingerprints all over it in a good way, right? You could feel like watching stories growing up and sort of them immersing themselves into the way that she's building her films. So there's very like similar musical trappings, similar cinematographical cinema.
We lost him. He just got away from us. I'm sorry.
Would you like to hear the name of the director again?
The cinematography, it was very, very reminiscent of her dad. And so I really liked the atmosphere she was able to build. I thought the sound design was really, really well. That's probably the best part about the movie was the sound design. I got pretty good hearing and pretty good vision for the most part. My words, not so much. But there was times in the movie where I looked at him twice and I was mad because I was like, you better silence your cell phone. But it's like we're hearing things and voices and stuff. And I thought that was him. So it's got some really, really good sound design in there.
Yeah. I think sometimes that movies, like, it's a very common experience when you go to a movie, is like, where's this going?
Mm-hmm.
And a director can only push that so far to the point where the viewer's like, I don't care where they're going, wherever it's at, it's just not interesting. They do a good job in this film of keeping you engaged with the where is this going question,
Mm-hmm.
right up to the strongest, and the third act is the strongest for the film at all. So I did like that. I agree with you. The sound design. I see when you say that her dad's fingers are all over. He was an executive producer on this. And I think, is that going to be, are people going to treat it unfairly because of,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, if I don't know if Steven Spielberg has an offspring or not, but I feel sorry for them if they ever decide to make a film kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And if that's why I like, Nicolas Cage. he refused to cash in on the Coppola name, and so you just sort of you judge him
Wait,
on
say
his
that
own.
now?
Nicolas Cage is related to
Like
Francis
how closely
Ford.
related?
He's a nephew.
Huh.
You
But
didn't?
I didn't know that, but I know what you're talking about. Nepotism's a big thing in Hollywood. So you see, like Denzel Washington's son, for instance, he didn't want to be pulled in by his father, so he really stepped away from the name. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So I do think that maybe we're being a little bit unfair because I do find myself watching it, and I'm watching it through the M. Night lens kind of stuff. And there's clearly, I mean, you can just tell they're second cousins, you know, the filmmaking style and all that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of times I do think that it is unfair because how often do you see a superstar level creator, athlete, writer where they have kids that follow in their footsteps and you just got the weight of the world on their shoulders and they just don't ever hardly perform up to it. Michael Jordan's son, there are tons of basketball players who have kids in the LeBron James's kids. I mean, they're just not going to be as good as their dad. Luckily for me.
It must be really hard for a son to grow up in the shadow of his father.
Well, it's really interesting because I didn't get to experience that a lot in my life until the movies.
By the way, you don't know who we are. I'm Dr. Paul.
I'm Diet Dr. Paul.
Yeah. No, it is. It really would be hard. Something else that I like. Okay, I like the fact that this time next year we're going to be doing a video on Wonderfest, and we will have seen. I guarantee we will see model kits for creature designs from this movie, or dioramas. And if you don't know what Wonderfest is, it's a scale modeling convention, science, horror, comic.
If they're
book.
watching,
Yeah,
they know Wonderfest
kind of
by
stuff.
now. I hit you with three videos.
Well, but that might not be the same audience. So go check it out. It is awesome.
Wait.
Go to Louisville, Kentucky.
So you're telling me that I don't know every single person that's watching this video right now?
There's Bob, Joy, Ann, D'Amico, Kurt Russell.
Right there. You.
Yeah.
You.
What did you not like about it?
What did I not
Why?
like?
Why did I? The spoiler alert say that it's.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me was sort of my retrospective view on it once the credits finished rolling. Because you and I said the same thing. At the end, come to find out, because we did such great research on this before we saw it, it's based on a book. So while I'm watching it, I'm kind of trying to give her passes a little bit here and there for being a young filmmaker, for being a filmmaker who has the name that rocked with the Night Shyamalan end of it and not try to like play it down. And my brain just...
Book.
The book. Sorry, guys. I did a lot of work this week. The book. So I was giving her a lot of passes for things because she's an up-and-coming director and the father angle. But when I come to find out that it's based on a book, that all paled in comparison and kind of made me well, maybe I have been too lenient on it and I should be harder. Because you've got book material. This isn't your original script per se. So a lot of the things that I had issues with, it was just sort of, it was very discombobulated. It's all over the place. The tone shifts dramatically and not in a good way, not in an entertaining way. It just feels like this is the best way I can describe it. And I'm not trying to be too harsh because I did enjoy a great deal of this movie. Is if someone had a really good dish they cooked in a 5-star restaurant and the chef puts the parsley on the plate and then he dings the bell and le waiter comes to get the dish and he brings it out to the table and he trips and falls and the plate goes all over the place and he tries to like push it back together on the plate, or the pizza guy drops the box and he tries to like shift it back together so they don't know, but you get like, there's a hair in here and where are my mashed potatoes?
So you're saying that there really is a good film in here?
In somewhere in here, it's just, I think it was a tough first story to jump into. And it was too ambitious. But I don't feel when I watch this any apathy. And I've used that word a lot lately. I've seen a lot of Star Wars and a lot of Zack Snyder. So it was refreshing to see, although it's not a great movie, a movie that felt like someone cared. They were trying. She tried. I could feel the try in there. But it does miss the mark a little bit in places.
I think I agree with you that sometimes when movies that are based on books, typically it's harder to get a book published, and books are then vetted. So somebody somewhere said, we have to make money off this book and choose to publish it. And then somebody then decides that they want to make a film of it. So that's 2 levels of vetting, as opposed to just writing a straight screenplay where you have one. So I don't know, and that might be an interesting show in the future. Are films from books better than films that are original adapted screenplays? But I was shocked when I saw that. It feels to me like it's a Goosebumps TV show episode, R.L. Stine kind of stuff. The thing that kept pulling me out at the front was of the movie, really the first third, was the cinematography.
Yes.
And it was this constant shifting between, the foreground is in focus, then the background is out of focus, and this switch back and forth. And they're not very much, when a scene actually comes on where the depth of field, you see everything in focus, it's kind of surprising. And I didn't know if this was just somebody trying to be tricky. I do know that everything in the film is there for a purpose.
Well,
And
for the most part it is. At least that's in theory, but not every director works that way.
Well,
you would
and I
think
know there's
that
guerrilla
she
filmmaking where you
would be more in line with the filmmaker that would.
Yeah, I'm trying to discern the meaning of this. I'm trying to say, so who is in focus and who is not in focus, and when is this happening? And it just pulled me out of the story. I don't know that the casting was as strong. I think the lead actress is brilliant in everything she does.
I like her a lot, but I didn't like her in this.
Yeah, well, she's not given a whole lot to do. There's a
No.
whole lot of close-ups, where she's just sort of looking either at the mirror or whatever. Creature design is kind of interesting, but you don't see enough of the creature.
Yes,
in
that was
order
my
to
big problem too.
To know that.
Because the payoff on the creature is part of what the impending doom is about. For instance, and it's not a great movie, the movie with Chris Pratt that came out, The War for Tomorrow or whatever, where he goes back in time. I think the creature design in that movie is really cool and it's scary looking, and they show you that thing a ton. And this, I think, potential, again, it's about potential, but it just...
Well, they hint at the creatures all through it, but you never really get a full on. It's like in Alien, when you finally see the alien, it's like, okay, I see. Wow, that's a lot.
Well, they do. They when they do finally show them, it's when they're sort of starting to look a little bit more anthropomorphic, and you have films like The Thing with practical effects that did this in a much more interesting way, and I think that hurt it. Practical versus CGI.
I wasn't a fan of the score, and I kind of think, and I know some of folks there, it's like, big deal. I think music is a lot. Music creates a
in
tone,
an atmospheric film,
yeah.
Huge.
I think the difference between this and, say, her dad's movie, The Village, who has one of the best scores. I mean, it's just amazing. And I can't remember who did it. I want to say James Horner, but that's probably wrong. But whoever did that, I think if they had a new score for this, it could change the scope of the film. But ultimately, in the casting, there was only one character that I really cared about. And that's important in movies because
Absolutely.
you have to care, because when they're in danger, then you feel that. You have empathy.
Because if you don't care about them, they're basically just parrots.
And that, it's an inside joke, because that's the character I care most about. Is a
Sets him up, knocks it down.
Yeah, it is out of there. The parrot is really the one that I cared most about. This, she works in a pet store, and she's taking this throughout the entire film. It's a beautiful looking, and I don't know.
I wonder at points too why she takes this parrot with her. Like when the car originally breaks down, and she's just like, "I'm just gonna go walk for help." I left the damn bird in the car, but she's carrying the bird around. Like I kept waiting for like the coal miner and the what's the type of bird that they use? Canary. I kept waiting for some sort of like theme on that. It just never surfaced.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the most terrifying moment in the film. There's a lot of jump scares, and they're annoying.
Yes,
after a while.
I don't like them.
Yeah, but the most terrifying moment in this film really was when she is at the beginning, when her car stalls in the middle of this forest. And this empathy that I felt, was like, what if this was my daughter? Because clearly she had drove a long way, and it was real clear that car was not going to start again.
No.
What do you do?
Well, that's the other thing about that situation too. And that's where some of the poor dialogue comes in the sloppy execution of the writing. Is she's in the middle of Ireland We've not seen a house during the entire drive scene.
Right.
Why are you taking 2 steps outside your car in the middle of the woods and screaming, "Help! Anyone can help? Hear me? I need help!" And then she walks 10 feet, turns around, opens the hood of the car, looks for 2 seconds, and then shuts it. And then later in the movie, she's like, "We're just going to go back to the car, and I'm going to find a way to get it started." I'm just like, okay, terrible writing.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's towards the end where she goes back to the university for this professor who's sort of responsible for a lot of this. And we're told that he hasn't been there for a decade or however long it is, and yet the students have raised money to keep his office exactly as it was. Now, I'm telling you, universities need space, and they're not going to keep this guy's office intact with every book, paper, journal, article, monograph he's ever written.
Yeah, he's not the son that passed away tragically.
It's not a museum for an unknown
No,
faculty
it's not.
meeting. And I thought that kind of pulled me out.
There's a lot of little things like that that really affect the overall score of the film.
Well, bottom line, I think you go to movies and you try to learn something. And the thing that I learned on this, I'm not going to Ireland. And although I've wanted, my wife and I we're planning a trip right now to Paris and London and Scotland, and I really wanted my roots. I'm Irish, and
Faith in Bigora.
go Darbies. But that's a joke, because I really do want to go to the motherland, the fatherland for my family.
Yeah,
but,
I dated a girl who went to Ireland one time.
Did you really?
Never heard from her again.
I thought it's like, no, she's from Canada. You wouldn't know her.
No, but yeah, I never heard from her again.
Well, verdict, have we beaten this enough? I mean, as we talk about it, it's probably not as bad as...
No, I think it's a very... There's a watchable movie here, and I'm sure someone's going to love this film.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But I don't have a problem with this film like I have with a film like Sinister to compare it to. Because again, I think that it's the absence of care and love. I didn't feel any absence of care and love in this. And that's at least a positive for me.
It's unfair because I'm talking about the entire Shyamalan canon.
Mm-hmm.
I like it 100 times more than Split. I really did not like Split.
I would put this in the same exact category, for me personally, as Lady in the Water. Lady in the Water is not a particularly good movie from a film perspective, but there's something to it that I just kind of liked that made me go back and watch it a few times. And I think I could see myself going back to watch this again.
I really look forward to, and I'm sure she's listening right now.
Oh, for sure.
But I really look forward to what you do. You've got some game.
Yes.
You really do.
Don't get my message to you. Don't get caught up trying to be your father. Do you, boo. Do you. If it turns out that you're the best horror director of all time, great. If you want to go do show tunes on Broadway, go do you. But just
what we've said in our M. Night Shyamalan stuff is that he doesn't need to be M. Night Shyamalan. He needs to just do what makes him happy,
and will be
instead
happy.
of trying to always come, what's the twist going to be, and all that kind of stuff. He's a brilliant filmmaker, and he can make brilliant films. And I think, young lady, I'm assuming you're young, you're swimming in the deep end of that cinematic pool, that genetic pool.
Just got to refine her game a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I really, really look forward to it. So encouraging to you. But for a first effort.
Yeah. And just maybe next time, this is probably just a tough story to unwind for your first feature-length film. So maybe go for something that's a little bit more digestible.
Yeah. Score?
Oh, this is going to be tough. Okay. I'm just trying to be fair here. And I think that this is a 5.5 out of 10.
I was going to say 5.5 myself.
Yeah.
So you heard it here.
Yeah. But go see it if this is your cup of tea. You may find something enjoyable about it.
Right. We hope that you, the real watchers, are watching Rotten Potatoes here. Go back and check out all 100 and some episodes that we've done. We do hot takes like this. We do what we call the 7, our top 7. I don't know what he's going to say. He's done what I'm going to say. We do the Mount Rushmore of a topic. We do Fight Club. We just, all kinds of stuff. We just, father and son, talk about movies. Be good. Love each other.
Don't be a spud.
We will see you
The movies
at the Produce Aisle grocery store.
Kill.